The GOAT list in the UFC is a heavily debated topic. You know, it's pretty hard to choose who is the greatest ever. I mean, it's easy to choose who's the actual greatest ever, but everyone after that, it gets pretty complicated. And a lot of people have done their takes on the GOAT list, but I am doing things a little differently. I've got here a bracket, a double elimination tournament with a lot of people I think are GOAT candidates, at least to be in the top 10, top 20 conversation. And you know what? Let's just get right into it. The first match that we got, Khabib versus Alex Pereira. This one's easily going to be Khabib. Khabib wins that for sure. Alex Pereira is good. You know, he's got a couple of really solid wins. Sean Strickland, Izzy, you know, Yuri, Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree. Those are some of his good wins. But, you know, he also got knocked out by Izzy. He just lost to Magomed. And a lot of people are kind of starting to say maybe his title run was a little bit Mickey Mouse. He also beat Jan Blachowicz. But a lot of people are kind of saying, you know, he kind of got it easy. I don't fully agree with that. I don't really fully disagree with it either, though. Khabib, undefeated, obviously. You know, I don't mean to be a fuck. But Khabib, you know, I don't mean to be a Dagestani Glazer, but Khabib was really good. Probably one of, if not the best wrestlers in UFC history. You know, beat Conor, Gaethje, Poirier. I just think, you know, with him being undefeated and just having a lot more wins than Alex, I think he stacks up slightly better, and I think he's higher all time. Next matchup, we got Jose Aldo and Dustin Poirier. This one's actually pretty difficult, in my opinion. Jose. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm ranking this based on, you know, like resume, how good they are, but I'm also I'm also adding a little bit of like their legacy. I don't want to do too much of that so that it's just like, you know, oh, you have to put Randy Couture in the top 5 because his legacy. It's like, nah, I mean, I mostly want to go with who is the best fighter, but, you know, greatness as a term I think should include legacy. I do think Jose Aldo has a better legacy than Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier was never the undisputed champ. He was the interim champ, still very good. He was never the undisputed champ, unfortunately. Jose Aldo has lost to quite a bit of guys. You know, he got slumped by Conor, obviously. But I think he has just done slightly more than Dustin, so I'm going to go with Jose Aldo. Next up, we got Alexander Volkanovski versus Merab Dvalishvili. Obviously, this is being recorded right after UFC 314. Alexander Volkanovski just regained his featherweight championship belt. Matter of fact, this is my reaction.
Let's fucking go! Volkanovski's the fucking champ!
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm a Volkanovski fan. I'm also a Merab fan. But Volkanovski's resume is so stacked. Now that he's got Diego Lopez, Max Holloway 3 times, Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez. I think that Volk's legacy, also, you know, winning the belt, 2 knockout losses, and then coming back and winning again. I think Volkanovski is better. Merab does, I think, have like the best 5 win streak in a row right now. But I'm still going with Volkanovski. Stipe versus John Jones. we've already seen this fight, and John Jones mauled Stipe. However, it was a very bum form of Stipe. Stipe is like 40 or some shit. He's old as dirt. Um, and John Jones is pretty old, but he's significantly younger than Stipe. And Stipe hadn't fought in a really long time when he stepped in to fight John. So, yeah, this one's easy. We're going John Jones. Anderson Silva versus Israel Adesanya. This is another matchup that we've actually already seen in real life, and Izzy won. However, it was against a extremely washed up and severely injured Anderson Silva. I am going to go with Anderson Silva. Izzy's good. I think Anderson Silva, as of now, is the greatest middleweight ever. I do think that Dricus is approaching him, though. I think Dricus is coming in hot. Also, Izzy, Izzy in his prime was something else, but I feel like once he kind of became champion, he wasn't really that entertaining. Anderson Silva was incredibly entertaining for his entire title run. And, yeah, I'm going to go with Anderson Silva on this one. Next up, we got GSP versus Max Holloway. Going GSP, man. Max Holloway does have a very good resume. But, he's lost to Volk 3 times. He's beat Jose, I think, twice. Max Holloway is extremely good. But GSP, GSP is up there in the GOAT combo. He's floating around 2, 3, 4, I think, for most people. So I gotta say GSP on this one. This is a very interesting matchup. Kamaru Usman and Dominic Cruz. We got one of the greatest bantamweights and one of the greatest welterweights to ever do it. This is a very interesting matchup. I actually don't really know who to pick here. Dominic Cruz. He's beat Demetrius Johnson. However, that was a flyweight coming up to bantamweight. Dominic Cruz did get masterclassed by Cody Garbrandt. That didn't age well, considering Cody Garbrandt's kind of a bum. Kamaru Usman, he beat Colby and Jorge Masvidal. He beat Leon Edwards once, but then obviously got KO'd by Leon after. To be fair, Kamaru did masterclass Leon until the knockout, and then he lost to Leon again after, though. I don't know, man. I'm going Kamaru Usman, though. I think that Kamaru Usman is, he's got some of the best takedown defense in UFC history. And I think his run was a little bit more impressive. I don't think that the competition that Dominic Cruz faced was really good. It wasn't necessarily elite. I do think that Kamaru Usman... I think that Kamaru also did... I think he kind of beat Hamza, honestly. Or at least got the draw. I do think that rounds 2 and 3 of that fight, Kamaru Usman won. Would have been extremely interested to see that fight if it was a 5-rounder. But unfortunately it wasn't. It's a 3-rounder. And they didn't give it to Kamaru Usman. I do think that he deserved that. And I think after seeing what Hamza did to Robert Whittaker, that performance aged extremely well, despite Kamaru Usman being, kind of up there in age. And, his knees ain't really working all that good anymore, so... But yeah, I think Kamaru Usman is slightly edges out Dominic Cruz. Next up, we got Ilia Topuria and Matt Hughes. We got a very modern fighter versus kind of an old head, an unk of the UFC. This one is kind of hard. And it might be recency bias, but I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria, man. Matt Hughes did beat GSP, but he also lost to GSP. Ilia Topuria, knocking out Volk and knocking out Max Holloway back to back. I mean, it's pretty hard to top that, honestly. And I'm a Volk fan, and I'm being honest here. I think Ilia Topuria is hard to top. I do think he is up there on the GOAT list. Matt Hughes was really good, but, he was kind of fighting a lot of unks. And, yeah, I gotta go with Ilia Topuria. This one is really difficult. Islam Makhachev versus Demetrius Johnson. I mean, the thing about Demetrius Johnson, I'm noticing a lot of people are starting to say that Demetrius Johnson is the greatest of all time. I think that's kind of a common take nowadays, and people are kind of trying to be different by saying that, but it's kind of common now. Everybody says that Demetrius Johnson is the GOAT, and I completely disagree. Demetrius Johnson was extremely, extremely good, but the competition he was facing just wasn't that good, really. I mean, had he beat Dominic Cruz, maybe a couple other guys, then I would consider him to be in the GOAT combo. But I don't think he's top 5, honestly. And legacy-wise, it does push him up. But simply, the competition he faced wasn't really good enough. I can't, in all honesty, put him in my top 5. But Islam Makhachev, I don't know, man. Islam Makhachev could be the greatest fighter we've ever seen. I don't think he is the GOAT yet, but I do think he has a lot of potential to become the GOAT in the near future. This one's really tough. The OG in me wants to say Demetrius Johnson. But I'm starting to lean towards Islam. Islam beating Volk twice. The Volk wins only aged better now because of Volk just reclaimed his title. So, and Islam finished Charles. I mean, I'm gonna have to say Islam, man. I mean, Islam's best wins are so much better than Demetrius Johnson's best wins. I gotta go with Islam. Charles Oliveira and Daniel Cormier. I'm actually wearing a Charles Oliveira shirt right now, but I'm going DC. Sorry, Charles, I'm going DC. DC, was probably one of the people that most likely could have beat John Jones, other than Dominic Reyes, who did beat John Jones. I think that DC was the best runner-up to ever do it. Obviously, other than Tom Aspinall nowadays, but back in the day, I think DC was, the best guy to beat John Jones. And really, other than John Jones, he didn't lose to anybody except for Stipe, but he also beat Stipe. And he was also like 40 when he was fighting Stipe. I gotta say DC. Charles, obviously, is super good. Charles' story is amazing. But, Charles has lost a good amount of times. He's lost to Arman. He's lost to Islam. And, earlier in his career, he wasn't super good. He kind of had to lock in as he went. He changed weight classes and became, one of the greatest lightweights. But I gotta say DC. Alright. We can do the losers round 1, or we can go straight into round 2 of the winners bracket. I'm going to go to the losers bracket first. We got Alex Pereira and Dustin Poirier. This one is actually kind of tough. I like this matchup. It's a good matchup. Dustin Poirier was never the undisputed champ, but I do think that Dustin Poirier is the greatest fighter of all time to never win a belt. And I think it's not even close. Dustin Poirier is probably, a top 5 lightweight ever. Alex Pereira is a top 3 light heavyweight. Or maybe top 4. I don't know. This one's tricky. Dustin, he's beat McGregor and he's won and lost to Gaethje. He had a really actually good performance against Islam, but he lost. He's lost to Khabib. Lost to Charles. Alex Pereira lost to Magomed. He lost to Izzy. I don't know. This one's really tough. This one's actually really tough. I don't know who to pick. I'm gonna go with Alex, but just ever so slightly, and it pains me to eliminate Dustin Poirier, but I gotta go with Alex. I mean, Alex carried the UFC. I do think he has a slightly better legacy than Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier was never the undisputed champ, so I gotta go with Alex. Merab versus Stipe. You got the greatest heavyweight of all time versus the greatest bantamweight of all time. Sorry, Dominic Cruz fans, Merab is better. Ooh, this one's tough too, man. Stipe was real good, but Merab is fucking good, man. I really don't know. And I could just be thinking recency bias for Merab, and also like, I don't know, man. This one's really tough. I'm gonna go with Merab. Merab's beat Jose, Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley, Umar Nurmagomedov. I think that he is ever so slightly better than Stipe. And it also pains me to eliminate Stipe in the first round. But I gotta go with Merab, I'm sorry. Israel Adesanya versus Max Holloway. Max, for sure, Max. Start going through some of these loser bracket ones quicker because I'm realizing this is going to take way too long. Dominic Cruz or Matt Hughes. I got to go Dominic Cruz. And then Demetrius Johnson or Charles. I got to go Demetrius Johnson. Sorry, Charles. I hate to eliminate him that early, but Demetrius Johnson is one of the greatest. I know what I said earlier, but he's still up there. Next up in the winners bracket, we got Khabib versus Jose. This one is also pretty tricky. I gotta say Khabib, just because of the amount of losses Jose has, and it pains me. And I know that the Mario Batista fight was a robbery. I think that Jose won that. And I think it's impressive that Jose's still doing it after coming out of retirement. I gotta say Khabib is better, though. I mean, the undefeated in the UFC. I know it is kind of overrated. I'm not gonna say Khabib is a slightly overrated. I think Khabib is slightly overrated, but I still think he's better than Jose Aldo. Volkanovski versus John Jones, man. My bias wants me to pick Volkanovski, but I gotta go with John Jones for now. Volkanovski keeps racking up title defenses. You never know, he might surpass him. But as of now, John Jones is probably gonna sweep this entire thing. I can't really think of someone who I would put over him as of now. Anderson Silva and GSP. This is a heavily debated matchup, and it's GSP. Anderson Silva, I'm sorry, Anderson Silva didn't face as good of competition as GSP, and he's lost a significant amount more than GSP has. You know, GSP's only losses, Matt Hughes is up there. Matt Serra, that's kind of a bummy loss, but he avenged both of them. Anderson Silva, you know, losing to Chris Weidman twice. I know the first one was his fault. The second one kind of isn't really his fault. You know, his leg snapped in half. What can you do? But I gotta go GSP either way. Kamaru Usman and Ilya Topuria. Ouch! That is a tough ass one, man. It's I want to say Ilya, man. I think Ilya has honestly faced better guys than Kamaru has, and Ilya's rose to the occasion every time, and he knocked out Volk and he knocked out Max all the way. I'm gonna say Ilya, honestly. I'm sorry, Kamaru Usman, but I gotta say Ilya Topuria. Islam versus DC. It's gotta be Islam, man. I'm sorry, but Islam is being the pound for pound one for this long. I mean, it's gotta be Islam. I think that, you know, they both got a good argument for being better than each other, but I do think that Islam is up there with the greatest of all time. I do think that DC's floating around that, you know, 7-8 area. I think Islam is floating around that 3-4, maybe 2 spot. So, sorry, DC. But I think Islam Makhachev is very slightly better than DC. Alright, let's go with these loser rounds. I'm just going to go quickly. DC is better than Alex Pereira. Kamaru or Merab. Fuck, that one's actually tough. I'm gonna say Merab though. Volk or Holloway. We've seen this fight 3 times. It's Volk. Dominic Cruz or Anderson Silva. I think legacy-wise, Anderson Silva is slightly better. I think Dominic Cruz might be a little bit of a better fighter, but I think legacy-wise, Anderson Silva barely scathes it. And then we got Jose and Demetrius Johnson. It's got to be Demetrius Johnson. All right. Round 3. We got John Jones and GSP. This is also an extremely debated topic, but you already know it's John Jones. I'm sorry. John Jones is ever so slightly better than GSP. The thing about the GOAT list, and I think why it's so controversial, is that it's all very close. The number 1 guy and the number 10 guy, the number 1 and the number 10 guy are like this close. And everything just fills in between. GSP is extremely close to being as good as John Jones. And I think that, like, I think people like Demetrius Johnson and Jose Aldo are also close to that. But there's just a lot of guys that are slightly better, ever so slightly better. Ilia Topuria and Islam. I'm going to say Islam for now. I do think Islam has done more than Ilia. But Ilia, if they fight and Ilia wins, he instantly surpasses him because they're both kind of in their prime. But yeah, for now it's Islam. But we'll see. Maybe Ilia Topuria dethrones Islam. We'll see. Losers bracket, we got Merab and then Volk. I gotta say Volk for sure. Anderson Silva and Demetrius Johnson. I gotta go Demetrius Johnson. Now let's see, where are we looking at? Ooh, okay. We got Khabib versus John Jones. I'm gonna say John Jones. I think John Jones is slightly better than Khabib. Like I said, it's all very close. I think everyone can kind of agree that John Jones is better than Khabib. And I think everyone can kind of agree John Jones is better than most of these guys. I think that the closest one is him and GSP, but I think he's slightly better than GSP. Let's see. Ooh, Daniel Cormier and Volk. Oh man, that's tough. It might be recency bias. But I'm going Volkanovski. Sorry, I'm not going to play it safe. I am going to be slightly controversial. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to disagree, but I got to say Volk. I'm sure there's also a lot of people that disagree with Merab being this high, but sorry. I think he's slightly better. I think Volk is slightly better than DC all the time. And now we got Ilia Topuria, Demetrius Johnson. I'm going to say Demetrius Johnson. And then we got Volk and GSP. Fuck, that one's close too. Volk and GSP is really close. All of the top 5 guys are all really close. I don't know, man. Volk beating Lopez might have shot him over GSP. Alright, let's push aside legacy for this matchup. Just go based on who have they beat. GSP's best wins are like Michael Bisping, BJ Penn, Matt Hughes. Volkanovski's got 3 Max Holloway wins. He's obviously got Diego Lopez, Brian Ortega, Harry Rodriguez. He almost beat Islam. Throwing Jose. I think Volkanovski's slightly better than GSP, and it pains me to say it, even though I love Volkanovski. I also love GSP. And it is kind of controversial, but I'm going to say Volk is better than GSP. John Jones and Islam. For now, it's John Jones. However, I think if Islam Makhachev beats Ilia Topuria, or pretty much if he beats Ilia Topuria or he gets 1 or 2 other really solid wins, I think he surpasses John Jones. Let's see, we got Volk and Demetrius Johnson. It's got to be Volk. Khabib and Volk. Shit. Volk. Sorry, Khabib. Your 30-0 can't carry you that far. And then Islam and Alex. we've seen this fight, so Islam. And John Jones versus Islam. Johnny Bones. There you have it. This list is probably pretty controversial. We got John Jones as the GOAT, which is normal. Then we got Islam as the second greatest, and Volkanovski as the third greatest. I do kind of agree with that. I think that's honestly kind of valid. Where does it go from there? I want to see like the ranking. I guess after it would be like Khabib and GSP. So like I guess the top 5 would be like John Jones, Islam, Volk, GSP, then Khabib as the top 5. And then it fiddles out around here. Guys like Charles Oliveira, Matt Hughes, Dustin Poirier, Stipe didn't make it that far. I think Stipe should probably be a little bit higher up. I do think Stipe is, floating top 10, but based on this, it's kind of floating top 15. I do think Merab is probably top 10 all time, so I'm not angry for putting him like that. Anderson Silva did also get eliminated kind of early, but Anderson Silva was facing kind of bums in his era. Demetrius Johnson, I did kind of diss Demetrius Johnson at the beginning, but I let him go a long ways, and I even put him above Ilia Topuria, which was kind of, I don't know about that one. In hindsight, I might put Ilia above Demetrius Johnson, but I think Ilia hasn't quite done enough to be considered greater all time than Demetrius Johnson. But anyway, there you have it. That is the UFC GOATS tournament. I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with some of these matchups that I did. But let me know. Maybe you think I'm a casual. But, let me know in the comments, I guess. And I'll see you all in the next one.